Okay, hi everyone. Here I'm with 6 of my friends from Bulgaria in a beautiful town in Croatia. It's named Samobor. Today we're going to have a conversation about one so important and popular topic in Bulgaria in the moment. It's about the domestic violence and how it affects our career choice.
Recently, we had this case about a girl who had 400 stitches done to her because her ex-boyfriend decided that because she cheated, she decided to be completely deformed. And this is just one of the cases that happened, but for some reason it's the most popular one. And I think that cases like this should be studied more carefully and why they happen.
Yeah, from what I remember, I also think the problem was not only moral about domestic violence, it was about the fact that the guy only got like 1 or 2 years in jail or probation or something like that.
He didn't even get any jail. He was, the judges said the injury was a minor injury, like a slap. It also counted the same thing in law, so they let him go.
It was
working
insane,
like
really.
a month later. He was at work. He's a bouncer at the club. He's like, yeah. So he was back to work at like a month after that. And when people learned about that, when her family shared her story, something which is not really common in Bulgaria, like a lot of people who wanted to help her. There was like a lot of protests in every city. And actually the judges, like and the doctors that were on this case, they got fired. So actually, and the guy got arrested again, which is something positive,
That's cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of other cases of stuff after the protests. For example, a woman came out and told her story about getting poured with acid by her boyfriend, like a lot of years back, like 20 years back. She got poured with acid and she was smoked.
But every one of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's like a businesswoman now. She's
pretty successful.
Yeah.
She owns like the Bulgarian fashion industry.
I think she also like wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
So maybe we can connect this with like your career pursuit. Like things like this either shape you as a successful person or maybe ruin your whole career.
Do you guys think that these are coming to her, maybe push her in a way to be, I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
I just wouldn't consider it as something public, you know.
No, of course.
No, it is possible that after something that happens, you at least get something out of it.
Of course. It's just terrible that in most cases it's domestic violence.
Yeah.
But maybe cases like this, like domestic violence, it also gets you less hours of work, so you seem less attractive to employers, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about the way it affects the way you work and how people perceive your work?
Well, in most cases domestic violence, it's not that extreme. When men tend to hit their women or, women tend to hit their men, of course. Because it's a really toxic relationship, most of the times they tend to hide their bruises, hide their cuts or whatever, and they're usually just really stressed and quiet. Most of the times they are not very social, so it's even harder to get out of the situation. And at work, I had 2 colleagues which had a case of domestic violence, and they were even though that they were really social and had nothing much to do, they were still really unproductive because of the stress. They were just they didn't have any life in them. So.
But the abusers they have control over your life, and they put boundaries in your work sphere, in your social life, and also most of your income is probably controlled by them.
Yes.
And it's not like it's easy to leave that relationship, because some people say that, like, why don't you leave? And you know, that there was some statistics about that. It's not easy to leave like a toxic relationship. It's a lot of people like have this actual problem that they know they should leave, but they just can't.
Yeah, the thing about that type of toxic relationship is that you start depending on that person because he has put a lot of boundaries, and over the years you actually lose access to your job, you lose access to money and socializing. So maybe that's why after such relationships, a lot of people actually get terrible mental illnesses.
Yeah.
And there is also the fact that in a relationship only one person can work, might work, and you can't leave him because you'll be financially unstable, yeah. Which is a big problem. I've seen statistics which say that lots of women don't leave the relationship because they can't find a job because of the mental illnesses and because they're scared, because they're afraid.
Yeah.
It's not also that, yeah. Like I said, it's about the fact that he's limiting your possibilities to work and he's limiting your access to money. So you're dependent on him or her.
There is also the fact that most of the time because of the depression and stress you experience with such relationships, many people might become dependent on substances. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, drug abuse is a big problem in your work sphere.
Yeah.
On top of that, with certain women, as kids, that's also like extra stress.
Yeah.
And she also doesn't have, if she leaves a man and she keeps a child, like she also will have, that's even more limiting her possibilities to have a stable job.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, it's if she has kids with that person, it's also even harder to leave that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why do you guys think that causes this? Why do like some men do this, some women? Why do you think you think there is like a major reason, or just people are that way?
Some people just like control and they don't know how to get it besides of physical abuse. And I think that comes from, generations and generations, like kids that have seen their parents fight a lot. And these people are either going to want to be the exact opposite of their parents, or this is the love that they have learned. I hate this saying that, I'm beating you because I love you. Like this is not true. That's accepting abuse.
I think there's not a certain type of psychology, like not one type of psychology behind domestic violence. And I think it's really hard to even recognize some type of pattern or something, or to find the reason behind all of that.
There was some statistic that said that men that work in a female-dominated field have a 47% higher chance to be abusers. So it's maybe something that it's a theory, but it was explained that because they work in a female-dominated field, they I don't know, it's like an inner.
They don't want to be on a lower pedestal.
Yeah, they may feel like on a lower.
Lower place, yeah.
Yeah, and they bring that stress back home. They feel like a less of a person, so they beat the woman to feel
more empowered.
Yeah.
So it's like hatred towards women.
No.
Hatred towards yourself, really, when you're feeling weak and don't know how else to reclaim your power.
And they feel weak because there's a societal thing of this is a female job, and they think less of themselves because of that. Like some men that's and so when he gets home, he beats his woman, so he feels it's
He's a
maybe
bigger person.
Yeah, or even breaking kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we only talk about domestic violence between partners, and we haven't said anything about domestic violence against kids and how it affects them. I think one of you told me a story about people who's something given I think officer or something. Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's this guy, Sean Strickland. He like a few weeks ago he just like won the world championship of MMA, and so his story is his father was really abusive towards him and his mother. He was like multiple times tried to kill his mother, and so he went to different podcasts and was talking about this, and he explained that if it wasn't for this, and if it wasn't for his father to be like his boogeyman in a way, like he was so afraid of him. That's the reason that he started training. That's the reason that he had this spirit in him to do what he does. And he said that like if it wasn't for this, I'd probably be like selling drugs in some trailer and be a junkie.
Yeah.
So this is like an interesting thing. Like how do these things like affect the person? Because they could either like ruin their whole life, or they could be something that like builds their character. Like
Yeah, I think even if it builds your character and you manage to get something positive out of it, turn into a successful career, it's still something that stays with you. And you can leave behind.
You
can ignore it.
But do you think you need to grow up in such a toxic household?
No, of course not.
Be a successful person?
The guy himself is pretty fucked up. He's like really weird. He's not a good guy.
He's probably mentally.
He's kind of like a sociopath, yeah. But
well, I think the domestic violence goes to all of that. Like,
could be, yeah.
And how do you suppose we can help such relationships and households?
Well, there's nothing you or me as a single white people can do. However, I always check on my friends that are in relationships, just ask them like little questions such as, how she treats you, whatever. And if I always see like a little bit of hesitation, I just, to be like sticking around. Because in those cases, again, like if you're in love, you won't say anything. It's not easy to leave a relationship. Doesn't matter if you're married for 20 years or if you're in a toxic relationship for 3 years in high school. And always just know the people should know that you're there for them. Because most of the times they feel like they have lost all their friends due to a certain relationship, and no one's gonna come and save them and love them again. And the person that loves them most is this toxic person. So they just have to know that you're here for them. That's really also for you.
Also, if you depend on the system to protect you, like the case with the girl with 400 stitches, if you actually depend on the system to protect you, and stuff like that happens, like the guy gets almost no jail time, and he's excused, and like for 400 stitches, your story gets told as a minor injury.
Yeah.
I think like the system is part of the problem too.
I think it was like it's corruption. In this case, it was like pretty serious corruption.
The judge was paid, I think.
Yeah, it's not just a part of the problem. It's like 90% of the problem.
Yeah.
Because also like the system creates people, not just the law. Like you're a product of, like everyone is a product of the environment around them. So.
But how should we help them? Like I was thinking that maybe if we know as people that we can depend on the system to protect us in such cases, I think that's the biggest help we can get.
Well, I think what we can do is talk about it, spread awareness, raise awareness, and if you have a story, tell your story and make other people feel more comfortable to share their own. And know that this isn't something that's okay, something that happens. Recognize that something is what it is.
And also just educate yourself and protect yourself, because I have this idea that we as single people have the actual power to, change the world as if like it's our own responsibility. Like it's the government's responsibility. It's, we don't hold that much power as single people, and we should just like educate ourselves and always be. Self-love can sound like a really cringe word, but even if you're in a relationship, that you trust the person or whatever, and that person just decides to flip the switch one day, maybe gets addicted to drugs or something and starts abusing you. Just to know when is the time to leave, and don't get hold on to empty promises and basically lose your life to that.
And maybe don't become dependent on the person.
Yeah,
Financially, especially.
Financially, emotionally.
Because we're talking about career choice in workplace, I want to say that I personally think that when you live in such household and you're in such a relationship, it will either destroy your whole career and future, and you will never recover and not be able to accomplish anything, or it can boost your motivation and it can help you grow. Like you said, the woman in Bulgaria, she became the most successful woman in fashion industry in Bulgaria.
Yeah, I think this is something we should also talk about more, so people who go through such things can be motivated, can see that it's not something that needs to hold you down.
Yeah.
And you can get over it and you can do something great.
Internalized hatred can be a good thing, yeah. I just don't, I wouldn't associate with motivation exactly.
My idea is when you see people that have gone through the same things as you, and you feel so helpless, you feel like you won't accomplish anything in life, you see people in the same...
Because like you feel alone, in a case like this, she for sure feels alone. And when she sees like another woman that went through like kind of the same thing, and now she got over it, she got over everything, she got successful. It's like it's a sense of comfort that you get from this. Like she got over this, she made it. I can also,
Yeah.
that's how I would perceive it.
Should we have some type of help offered in our workplaces by bosses or by colleagues?
Of course, of course.
But how can we like suggest that, or maybe what type of help?
Well, it's a really tricky question because, until there's like no proof of physical abuse or like any injuries, it's hard to just like do anything about it, like no one will go to jail exactly. But more like psychological help, like if the woman like needs someone to talk to, and trust that person that's not gonna say like anything to anyone. Like that's the thing I feel most women want, but they're scared to tell anyone because they don't know like the man to know that they have killed someone, because that's even more dangerous. So I think in the first place they should have someone to talk to before they decide to do something more like acting on.
Yeah, because when we're talking about domestic violence, it's not only physical abuse. It's even mostly mental abuse, and many people don't realize that.
True.
The workplace is a place you go 5 days a week. For most people, where you should have some option for psychology help. Like have in school, not that psychologists in school are the best thing ever, but you should have the option.
Well, what I guess I'm trying to say with talking to someone is because exactly it's not only physical abuse, it's like your mind tricking you that you're not worthy of love, like you don't deserve anything. When you have that safe space to talk to someone, even if it's for like 10 minutes, if you do that regularly, like months and months and months before you're ready to actually call the cops or like do something on that person before you like have your own strategy. I think that's a really safe place to start. Because until there's like no proof, like no evidence, you're probably gonna set yourself up for failure if you just try to blame that person rather than you. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. It's tricky. This is something that's kind of hard to when suing someone. it's hard to prove.
Prove.
Yeah. It's,
But do you think that some people might be ashamed from this and they might not want to talk about this in the workplace because they feel they will be judged?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's cases like that all the time.
You're also scared that people are not gonna believe you and you're gonna stay with that person and he'll know that you thought about it.
Yes.
So there's that.
Yeah, it's not easy just to talk about it, yeah.
Especially if you're in a competitive workplace where the atmosphere is most likely toxic and you will be usual kind of wrong altogether.
I don't remember who asked that question about like how can we prevent domestic violence and how we can help it. I think the most effective way is for like to prevent it for future generations. You know, raising our kids much better with much more love and patience. And again, never say that you know I'm being like this, I'm being hateful, I'm being disrespectful because I love you. Like there's no such thing as that, and when kids learn that, that's the love that they tend to express to other people. You know, or I hate that saying, you know, in kindergarten or in school, like, yeah, that boy's messing with you and that boy's hitting you and he's spitting on you and he's cursing you out because he likes you. You know?
yeah.
He's just being like that. He's just a boy.
Yeah,
You. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should conclude that everything stems from your childhood, the household you grew up in, like your way of thinking, and whether that be you be the abuser or the abused, the way you perceive things, the way you do things, it stems from your childhood and from the way you grew up. And I think there should be more resources to help people in these situations, and especially people who are financially dependent or on other people, other abusers.
Yes. Yeah, so in conclusion, I think it's really important to give our future kids a good example of what love is and what a healthy relationship looks like. So they don't do anything bad for people.
And they are successful. Yeah.